Hi, welcome to the Career Corner. My name is Heather Swift, and I'm delighted to be your host. Today, my guest is entrepreneur Bernadette Pleasant. She can be described as one of the most intoxicating and energetic women you will ever meet. Bernadette is a fiery, sensual speaker, somatic healer, and creator of Femme. She facilitates transformation for those who desire to live out loud through a physical, emotional, and immersive journey. I met her this spring. I've never met anyone quite like her, and I'm so happy to have her on the show. Bernadette, welcome to the Career Corner.
Oh my gosh, thanks so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. You know, I first saw you on stage this past spring.
Yeah.
During a Mama Gina School of Womenly Art event. And the first time I saw you, I thought, this woman has something that I want. And if I could just have 2%, just 2% of it, I knew that something would shift. And you added so much to that workshop through your energy and your love and your movement.
Thank you.
And really the comfort that you bring to yourself. And I truly believe you love every ounce of yourself.
I do.
That came across, and I know more of us women need to feel that way.
Yes, indeed.
So thank you for your time there. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And I want to learn more about you, your journey as an entrepreneur, and about Femme. Tell us about Femme, your baby.
Oh, it is in fact my baby. I love that you called it that because she was birthed. She was birthed, and she wasn't a planned pregnancy. I did not come to this body of work, you know, by sitting down and writing out a business plan. Femme was created because of my need to heal. Femme was created because I realized I was shut down in so many ways and that I was masking or covering up those hurts and needs and those desires and just not living out loud. And I realized that what I really needed to do was to move my body. And I would do that. And I'd go to the clubs because I enjoyed dancing. And I went someplace that they had congas playing. It was a salsa club.
Drum action.
And it was that hand beating the drum. And something hypnotic would happen for me when I was in those spaces. And it was free. It was a time when I wasn't judging myself. And something began to open up in me. And that's how Femme was conceived, if you will. And it grew from there and just really became this beautiful body of work.
That's so nice, because I know you incorporate many different healing arts into it, movement. That was kind of like the seed, the inspiration of realizing there was something there. How did you even go about turning something like this into a business and branding yourself? Can you tell us a little bit about your path?
Great question. What I did was I always enjoyed teaching, and I used to teach different modalities of movement.
Okay. Were you a dance teacher as well?
I was a movement teacher.
Okay.
I never really taught dance per se. I'd taken some trainings where there were things that were a lot more choreography. So I would teach to the extent that I stood in front and people moved a certain way. And that served a great purpose. You know, it would get the heart rate up, and it was just good. And many people who just want to come and sweat, that was fantastic. But what I was looking for was something that helped me move my body in a way that wasn't steps. There was no way to do it wrong. In other words, there's a lot of just free movement. I needed something supported by a music that I couldn't find through canned music. And it made a lot of sense that my healing began on the dance floor listening to live drums. So that's what I bring into my class. I bring live African drums. And those drums are used because it helps people get out of their head and not think about getting it right, but to just move their body. Yeah.
And as Brenda said this, I can hear the drumming going up above our studio here.
Those are my guys. They're here with us. I take drums everywhere I go.
Whether you consciously mean to or not, they're following you.
Yes, they are.
Oh, like a Gilligan's Island. I hear in the background, like just kind of going.
On coconuts.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So when was your first Femme class that was actually called that? Do you remember?
It was 6 years ago.
Okay.
6 years ago when I finally just decided, well, I didn't initially take credit for it. I was just doing this thing which felt really good to me, and I'd done a lot of study and partnered with with different healers, and so that I could understand the emotional tour I intended to take people on, in addition to moving their bodies. So they're literally moving out joy, because I believe we put on a smile when we really want to just jump up and have a good time, or instead of giving ourselves space for tears and grief, if we're feeling that, telling ourselves to buck up. So I wanted to create a space where we can move through emotions, and drums help us to do that, because it plays to the body in the moment and where you are emotionally.
Yeah, there's something very powerful about. I love to. I like to chant, and with the drums playing more like the Indian Tonga or whatever like that. There's just something really like that. It just takes it to a whole new crescendo.
It does,
and level in that way.
It really does. It's important for me in our classrooms to really create a safe container, and those drums are the first sound we first heard.
And do you get in your classes? I'm sure you have that middle-aged white woman that comes in, probably not a size 2, and feeling a little self-conscious and not quite, like with the like, and she also gets moving and into it.
She does, and that's the beauty of the drums. It's also the beauty of the spaces.
And our teacher,
and our teacher, or one of my teachers. I have 31 teachers.
That's right.
Around the
Congratulations.
country.
That's amazing.
Thank you. And so Femme is growing, and people are learning, but all are welcome. All are welcome. Our classes tend to be predominantly women, and of all races and sizes and ages. And but what we do is we allow men to come in. We allow those who don't identify as either, whatever it is. Younger people are coming in because of their need to express,
connect, and all of that.
Yeah,
I know. You had mentioned to me before about this idea of kind of living in this little teeny box as compared to everything. And tell me about your experience with that. When did that first occur to you, that there was a time where you felt like you just couldn't fully share your biggest joy or your biggest sorrow? Like, what was that like for you? When did that happen for you?
Well, that happened as a teenager. There were a number of abuses that happened inside the house. There was molestation, and I began to shut down. I really did. But I noticed that shutdown, that happened for me then, but I've noticed people shut down for any number of reasons. But when that started to shut down, I started to live smaller. I started to try to take up less space. I would imagine that my breathing was even suffering. As you try to take up less space and become more and more invisible, in one way or another, you're just not as shiny and bright. And so that just starts to happen. And while mine was born of my own experiences, what I've seen is that it could be any number of experiences that causes that same shutdown for another. Yeah. But as one makes the determination that they want to do different, that's when it's a really great time for them to come and explore that in the movement.
And kind of to live more fully, more on purpose. And kind of break out of these little boxes. And
Indeed.
Do you feel like, Femme has been 6 years, but this has been a life journey of yours with these seeds
really
planting and growing, heading all towards this, right? Do you feel with today's day and age, we're not going to get into politics, but just the splits that we feel, it's like there's this undercurrent bubbling of anger and frustration on every side, and fear, a lot of fear and all that. Are you feeling like this is coming to a crescendo more so than you've ever experienced, where what you're doing is almost more needed and more of a calling?
Indeed.
Than even like when it was,
absolutely
5, 10, 15 plus years ago.
Exactly. First of all, you can talk about emotions and realize that everyone has them, whereas that wasn't. There was a time when people didn't have voices, and so things were just expected to be, keep a tight lid on something. But voices are starting to come out, and they always come out awkward initially if one hasn't exercised a muscle, and they're just going to start having a voice around something, just saying no, or I disagree with that, being willing to say that. Being willing to say, I need to be seen and heard. One of the things we do in the Femme experience is encourage people to have voice, because so often when we're experiencing emotion, it has been my experience that there's no voice around the joy or the grief or the
like,
anger.
Yay. It's like a little, like,
exactly.
as opposed to woo!
Absolutely, just taking up as little space as possible. And it's like contorting one's body energetically and one's set of emotions.
I would like to think that every generation of us, that we get brighter and bolder and louder in a positive way.
Yeah.
When I look back at the pictures of the ancestors that came over from however, they were shut down.
Yes,
It's very
indeed.
serious looking people.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure there was glimpses of joy in there, but those were hard lives.
I can tell you.
And not that we don't have our different knocks or things to
Sure.
overcome, but I'm like, wow, that was, so I'm hoping that every time we create newness from our young people, that it's just easier to get to the place you're trying to get us to. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I love the visual, but I can remember seeing pictures of my great-grandmother. My grandmother looked different in terms of just how she showed up in the world. My mother looked different. I certainly, and show up different. And my daughter, the voice, the
I've seen her. She glows. She's
she
gorgeous.
glows.
So do you.
And and
Yeah.
she feels very safe in that. Like
and stepping
and I
into her
see
greatness.
it. Yes, by all means.
Yeah.
And my grandson's coming behind her.
Yeah, the beautiful family you've
And
created. Look what you've done,
yeah,
creating all
yes,
these great
I
people.
did. Like, I paved the way for that. Absolutely.
That's so fabulous.
Yeah.
And to see that, and mine are still little guys, but you see, like, when you see the best of yourselves in your children, you're like, we're doing something right.
Absolutely. I did good here.
Yeah. That's so nice. I love the idea of how women can approach the music and the feeling. I'm sure you kind of warm them up into feeling comfortable. Because I know the first retreat I did years ago, probably in my early 30s, late 20s, the idea of dancing in front of strangers and movement from where I came from, I felt so contracted and just so like, I don't know if I can do this.
Sure.
And then I did some more Kundalini work and just different things along the way to getting to our spring adventure with the School of Womenly Arts. And all of a sudden you're like, this is fun. And you realize that no one's really looks at you. No one cares.
No one cares. No one cares. This is the crazy story we tell ourselves and just continue that cycle of spiraling downward. But no one cares. It is important, I will tell you, when you walk into a femme experience, to walk into the sounds, the melodious sounds of something really just grounding energy, playing to those beautiful drums. And the class is built on a heart rate system. So we start off nice and slow and warm the body up and start doing some exercises in there. And we slowly build up to what might feel faster, but then we bring it down to meditation in the end. So it's nicely, beautifully.
So you're kind of like dancing for most of it. It's body movement.
It's movement, but not the entire
meditation.
time. A femme experience is 90 minutes.
Okay.
So it's not, and the difference here is that it is truly mind, body, spirit. It's not a 1 hour workout class. People come here because they want to be expressive, not because they want to just sweat.
Yes.
You get a chance to do that, and it feels really
it's
good.
It's not Zumba.
It's not Zumba. No, I've done Zumba. I've taught Zumba. It's not Zumba, but it is. This here, people leave feeling, I would say, like they left something on the floor that could be held and let go of.
Discarded.
Yeah, discarded. Yeah, that's what I hear
fabulous.
mostly. Yeah.
So we're going to pause for a moment and take a break. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with my guest, Bernadette Pleasant, after this brief commercial message.
Every child needs a place to call home. A place where they can play and dream. And plan for their future. In the Habitat house, my daddy helped build. I study. I grow. I learn. I live. Your support can help put a decent roof over the heads of a family like mine. Like mine. Like mine. Like mine. To learn how you can help, visit habitat.org.
Hi, welcome back to the Career Corner with my guest, founder of Femme, Bernadette Pleasant. So Bernadette, for our second half, I'd love for you to share maybe some do's and don'ts or lessons learned as becoming a woman entrepreneur.
Sure.
And really, the fact you have like over 30 teachers now that have taken the pebble truly from your hand and brought this beautiful gift of movement and healing, out around not just the U.S. but the U.K. and China.
Yes.
Like, hello.
Yeah.
Like that's great. Do you believe that? You wake up and go, am I really me?
It happened. Yes, indeed.
Like that's so great. Mm-hmm. That's really so beautiful. So, what are some practical tips that you can share with women entrepreneurs as far as protecting what your baby is, protecting your brand, your product, kind of what that's doing? Anything you can share about that and kind of the beginning process of really becoming not just this is my class, but my company,
my body of work,
your body of work.
Thanks for this question. I wish there was somebody who answered this question for me. What comes to mind firstly is taking ownership of the fact that you have done this thing. That was interesting for me. There I was doing something, seeing results, getting beautiful accolades from people who were attending this body of work that I didn't quite put a name on it. And then there were people who would ask about a training, like, I want to share this with others. Is there a teacher training? And I used to just, I was treating it like a hobby. Okay. Because but there was more to it than just treating it like a hobby. It was an inability to admit that I had created something, that there was value
to make it like
what
official
I was doing.
Almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was like an acknowledgement of it, first of all, to myself. I have done something here, something worthy of creating a training for, but something worthy of me giving it a name. And then and then taking this thing seriously and starting to do the work around building the business. Once I took it seriously, I remember sitting at my dining room table and I got a real fancy book. I thought, okay, I'm going to write a teacher training, so you need a really fancy book. So I got a really expensive fancy book. And I sat there with my really nice pen. And I sat there for days and days and days. And I'm not a writer. I have created this beautiful body of work, but I'm not a writer. That doesn't make me a writer because I'd like to create a training. Yeah. So I got the support that was needed. I asked for help. And I sought out not just who was available, but who I thought would be a good fit, who understood my vision, and could support me in birthing that. And I just found beautiful support.
That's nice. So you kind of had to really look for the people that had the skills you did not possess.
Absolutely. And not try to do it all. Yeah. So that would certainly be a lesson for women entrepreneurs. It is really
That's great business 101, right? You can't be everything.
You can't.
So you get people to kind of, because you create the movement, but you need someone to put words to what you had created.
And there was this thing of coming over, like, I should know how to do all these things. But there are some things I'm just not good at. I had really created a beautiful body of work. I was good at that.
Yeah.
But there's some other parts of this business that I needed help with, and I needed to first admit that I couldn't do everything. Okay. Because then what I do well would start to suffer.
Yeah, it's true, and then it's eating away at the creative spirit and the things that you love, being stuck in it, whether it's the accounting or the marketing or the parts to it. So that probably is the first big step of, okay, we know what my weaknesses are, my strengths are, and then incorporating the talent to help put more, grease the wheels and get that train moving forward. Kind of in that way.
And that was a beautiful way of taking care of myself and growing this, is bringing in that proper support so that I could now move ahead and do business better and smarter as a result. Yeah. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because, business is small and growing. But it was important to admit that I did need help and then seek it.
Yeah, especially now. Did you have an intention behind this? Did you have a value proposition or intention, like of this is femme or this is what it means? And have you since created one now?
I've since created.
Tell
one.
me, what is it?
I've since created one.
Okay.
Then no, I would say it was that bridge of hobby to business. So there wasn't It wasn't really good structure. But once that first teacher training happened, and I thought 2 or 3 of my best friends might show up because they love me. And then, there were almost 20 people who showed up because they saw the value in this work.
What was that reaction when you walked in there and you realized the list is signing up, and not just like your best friend or someone related to you, but people that saw the value?
There's some people don't need external validation, but I hadn't done that much work at that point. I was, there was a moment when it's like, oh, wait a minute. Mm-hmm. They see the value in this. Mm-hmm. And it just gives you a new sense of responsibility as to what's being shared and created. And I've always wanted this business to be beyond me. I didn't see being singular and growth this way. I can't be everywhere.
Okay, yes.
And I can't relate to every person. Mm-hmm. But to the extent that people understand the value of the work, that they could go and teach it where they are, that allows this body of work to grow. Mm-hmm.
And what is your mission statement, or for Femme?
Oh, well, we're going to be in every country, and we're going to be really full in every country. It'll be there will be movements to express yourself with a hashtag Live Femme connected to it, but just that people can walk out into the world and feel, if you need a crutch, say it's because of Femme, but because there was a place where my voice needed to be heard, where I could show my emotions and be freer in my body.
And is every class very similar in as far as like the beginning, middle, and end? Like, is it kind of a similar structure for every class one would go to?
Absolutely. Anywhere across the country, or in China, or
UK.
UK.
The Brits, they have their tea first,
yes,
and then
exactly,
they start
exactly.
the same kind of drums?
And however they need to do it. But
Yes.
by all means, that purpose of the drum is for anybody to just move.
Now, who's doing this drumming? So every teacher needs to have a drummer with them, obviously. So where are you finding these drummers?
The drummers are everywhere. They're drum circles all over the place. And my team and I help teachers find the drummers for them in their area. So I am definitely, one of the things, there was a statistic that I had learned many years ago, and it was that people who train and take teacher trainings in various modalities, 70% of people who take trainings don't do the thing they took the training for.
70%.
70%. So
that's high.
I think that's really huge number, and I wanted to see different. So as we started building this business, it's helping people who come to the training also learn to be better entrepreneurs through our marketing classes that we offer people who are part of the Femme family. Yeah, we're doing things to build their businesses and to help them be better entrepreneurs.
Very nice. And that could be probably their everything, or an element of what they're doing in their lives, right?
Yes, and that is how I think it's important to do that, for it to be a holistic approach to this body of work, because it's something you live and something you want to take into your everyday life.
What words would you have for women that are not feeling very alive right now, or are feeling very small or compartmentalized? We spoke about. What words of encouragement would you have for them?
I would, you know what this feels like. you know what that feeling small. You know what that feels like. So be willing to surprise yourself. Be willing to take a risk and just do something for the sheer enjoyment of it, and have a blast along the way. And find yourself absolutely gorgeous every step of the way as you're stumbling around. It's just fine to do it.
We have like a couple minutes left. How would you encourage women to fully love themselves, all of themselves? Because you see it in the magazines. I don't look like this, or I used to look like this in my 20s. Now I'm in my 40s, 60s, 70s. My poor grandma, she's 98 now, but she got cataract surgery probably 20 years ago, in her 70s, and she cried when she looked in the mirror afterwards because she saw all the wrinkles and how old she really was. Because with the fogginess, grandma thought she was still looking pretty good. And then all of a sudden, she's like, wow! And you're like, Grandma, you're still beautiful to us. You know, but women, we're hard on ourselves. How do we get in touch with that self-love?
Okay, well, my example is going to be to let that go, because that hasn't served you. It's just not. And that's something that you can change. You can decide that it's okay to love this body. Have a relationship with it. Yeah, I mean, literally.
Exactly as it is.
Yeah, exactly as it is.
I read that in your marketing. I love that you said that. Exactly as we are. We can love ourselves fully.
I mean, that part of us that feels that we have to measure up to something, that is impossible. Nobody can. Those people aren't real. They're airbrushed. Like, get rid of those magazines.
And I worry about our young people with this.
Yeah.
I feel like when we get into the 40s and all of a sudden it's like the F at 40s and beyond, and we're like, oh, I am who I am, and I'm a rock star, and I'm going to keep rocking in this way, and I'm going to try this. I think we give ourselves more freedom for that. But raising daughters, you've done this. Like, I think for all of us that are raising the sons too, that feel like those are fake women. You know,
Absolutely.
And real women can also do this and do that and have flaws and still be fabulous.
Indeed, and we teach by example. But, you know, if that is not truly how we feel in our body and how we feel about our bodies, that's what our daughters are going to see. That's what they'll see, is the insecurity. They'll see the thing that isn't said. So what is it that you want for them? Do you want them to have that more freedom and just be healthier emotionally and physically because they just love their bodies? I say go for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's so much more freedom in that instead of the contraction or just the coming from the house of lax.
It's like I often refer to that it's like trying to take a deep breath with Spanx on your lungs. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
No, not
free
very
the
well.
lungs.
So now, where would people find your classes in the New York tri-state Jersey area?
Yeah, they'll find them by going to the website, which is Live,
and it will be down here somewhere on our TV screen.
Right down there. It is Live Femme. That's FEMME.com.
Okay.
And Live Femme, they're going to list all the classes, the ones that I teach monthly. And
where are you teaching right now?
I teach in New York City.
Okay, great.
I teach in New York City, and it's just, it's local and easy to get to.
Fabulous. And then I know you have your teacher trainings as well.
I do. The teacher trainings are held there's some in the tri-state area, but they're all across the country. And one coming up in DC and another in LA. So I move around and offer them.
Okay, great. That's nice. So people can take a little bit of you with them and incorporate that. So it doesn't have to be a pure femme class that they then teach, but elements that they have been empowered now to kind of pass on, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and then there are retreats and workshops that I move around the country.
Nice. So we can go to your website and see all these beautiful offerings and see what works with the schedule and the life, and see how we can incorporate a little more joy and drumming. And it sounds like a lot of self-love that comes out of these workshops.
It is. Whether it's in the group classes or privates that I do with people, they're all available there.
You must love seeing the transformation in people that come into your life.
There's nothing like it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to see freedom in someone's body.
It is. Well, you're beautiful. Thank you for being my guest today. It's been so wonderful having you on here. And thank you to you all for tuning in to this wonderful session of the Career Corner with Bernadette Pleasant. I look forward to seeing you on many more shows. Have a great night.